Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock at Stampin with Crafty Klock. It is January 1st, 2026. Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season and are ready to jump back into crafting. Now, I know some of you got new craft supplies for the Christmas holidays, so drop a comment and let me know what you got, or if you got a gift certificate, what you're going to buy and what you're looking forward to in the new catalog that comes out on Tuesday, January 6th. So as you can imagine, in the lead up to the holidays, a little busy, a little distracted, so I didn't really have a chance to play with the product of the month, which was the True Blue Floral Designer Series paper. So that's what we're going to be working with tonight. I'm going to show you the paper, and then we're going to make 3 cards just using this really beautiful Designer Series paper. You can still get it. It's $5 with an order of $75 or more. I will drop the link to my store down in the description after this video posts. And if you want to get it, you can go ahead and shop. We have a new product of the month coming out on Tuesday, January 6th. Nobody knows what it's going to be yet. So it could be an embellishment. It could be stamps. It could be really anything. So we'll see what happens on Tuesday. But let's go ahead and get started. Let me switch out my cameras because you know I'm always technologically challenged with this. All right. So this is that new True Blue Designer Series paper. It's the product of the month for December. You can still get it with a purchase of $75 or more. The colors are Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. I know the lighting is kind of putting it a little bit off. Let me see if I can change this a little bit. No, maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know. So that's one. There are 6 sheets of 2-sided paper, and we're actually going to use a little bit of each one of these in tonight's cards. So I'll show you the cards in a minute, but they're just pretty. I like how they have some that are the darker, some the blue, some have the white background. So really, really pretty paper that you can use for a variety of purposes. I mean, you've got some florals in there, you've got some stripes, and just some sort of more generic designs, I guess, that really aren't the florals. But these are the papers. I really like this one. I don't know, blue and white to me is just such a classic. I think it just goes really well. What do you think? Is blue and white kind of a classic combo for you too? So let's see what we're going to work on. So we're going to work on our first card. Again, we're just really going to let our Designer Series paper shine with these 3 cards because the paper's so pretty, we don't need to do a whole lot. I'm doing 3 birthday cards because the new year, lots of birthdays coming up. So this is just little 12 1-inch by 1-inch squares. And this actually shows each side of the Designer Series paper. So we've got 12 little squares on there, just a little happy birthday sentiment. We're going to do a little bit of layering here. Again, we're just doing a little quick and easy happy birthday card. But we've got, this was one solid piece that I cut into the 3 strips. And I'm going to give you a little trick for knowing how to layer these on there so that you can make sure that the design flows seamlessly across and you don't have like design going every which way. And then we're going to do the famous, I don't know if it's really famous, but it's a fun little stack, cut, and shuffle technique. Now you can do one of 2 things. You can use 4 separate pieces of Designer Series paper for this, but since I have, since it's 2-sided, I actually just used 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper and just flipped them, used the front side and the reverse side for each of these pieces, these 4 pieces. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first card we're going to do is going to be that very fun little 12 1-inch by 1-inch squares. So again, our card base, I've used thick basic white. I've got here a piece of basic white. It's 1.5 by 1.5 square, and we're going to mount that after we stamp it to a 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 inch square of Balmy Blue. And all these measurements will be in the blog post, which will be up tomorrow. So don't worry about writing them down. They will all be there for you, and I will link the blog post down in the description after we're done. So I've got 12 little pieces of 1 inch by 1 inch designer series paper. And so what I can see, I've got the two sides. What I did was I kind of broke it down by the background color. So I kind of put all my balmy blues together, all of my darker colors together, and then all of my whites together. This one's kind of a cross between balmy blue and white. But I kind of wanted to just be able to quickly. No, do I have? I don't. Do I have? I don't have that side yet. And which one is this? I have that side. Okay, we'll put that in the balmy blue. And these are kind of between white. They're not really balmy blue, but they're not really white. So we'll kind of put those in the middle. And then all I really did was I wanted to make sure that I kind of had a range of the colors. I didn't want to have all of the colors mixed together. So I start, and I'm just going to lay these down first before I attach them to make sure I'm happy with it. I'm just going to kind of lay down the scraps. These aren't scraps. These are 1 inch by 1 inch squares. Just to kind of see if I like the layout. Okay, so I started with a balmy blue and then I went to white. So now we're going to go white here. I'm going to put a white one there. We're going to go to a darker one and we're going to go to a balmy blue one. Okay, and then we're going to start with a darker one. And then go to a balmy blue one. And then go to a white one. Okay, and then see, now these are kind of similar. I'm going to put that there. And maybe put this one, I don't know, here. And I guess, I don't know what I want to do with this one. I guess I'll have to put it there. Maybe I'll switch. Not that it's really going to matter, but, well, I think that's fine. Actually, I think I want this one here. Because this one will be a little bit covered by our sentiment. So once you kind of have the arrangements, how you like them, now we're just going to get started. And I'm going to start in the upper left. And I'm just going to glue these down like just one square at a time. Okay, so I'm going to do my top row first. Make sure, because then all of my other rows will sort of follow along with my top row. Okay, and I'm trying to do this straight, eyeballing it, which may or may not work in my favor. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they are exactly evenly spaced apart. Again, I'm just sort of eyeballing everything. But if you're the type of person that needs to have everything exactly laid out, use a ruler to help you with your spacing. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just more of a wing it type of person. Let me know, are you more of a wing it or are you it's got to be perfectly aligned type? Let me know. Let me know what your preference is. And again, no wrong answers. Just it's all a matter of personal preference. So, what is everyone looking forward to in the new catalog that drops on Tuesday? I have been previewing some of the stuff. In fact, the stamp set we'll be using tonight is called Reason to Celebrate. That is one of the new stamp sets. It's got some great sentiments. And it's one of the optional classes that you can take at Creativity in Bloom happening in Winchester in March 27th and 28th. We only have 5 spots left and registration will be closing on January 15th. So if you have been thinking about signing up, this is your gentle nudge to say, don't wait, because we're either gonna sell out those 5 spots or registration is going to close on January 15th. So you've got about 2 weeks left to make your decision, less if those spots fill up. So hopefully you'll be joining us. But I'll show you the stamps that we're using in just a minute. Let me just get these squares on there. I like this design. I thought it was kind of a nice way to showcase all of the designer series paper. And again, I guess if you wanted to make these a tad bigger, you could. I guess you could go like maybe 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, but I kind of liked the 1 inch by 1 inch. I actually got this idea for this from a fellow demonstrator in the UK. Hannah posted something in one of our groups, and I thought it was such a cute design that I decided I was going to case it. So thank you, Hannah Ripley, for kind of being the inspiration for this. All right, so now we're going to use the happy birthday from the Reason to Celebrate stamp set. This is one of the new stamp sets that will be available on January 6th. And it's got great sentiments. You can have a birthday, an anniversary, graduation, New Year, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, congratulations. Really just kind of anything that you can think of. You can mix and match the sentiments to put them together however you want. So that is what we're using. And we are just going to use the happy birthday sentiment from that stamp set. It was two separate stamps. It was the small happy and the larger birthday. And I put them together on this ink pad, which is in desperate need of re-inking. So maybe tomorrow. I don't know about you, but having the holidays on a Thursday has really just kind of thrown off my whole week. I feel like today should be a Saturday. I don't know. Anybody else out there kind of feeling a little discombobulated with the Thursday holidays? And I'm like, oh, tomorrow's just Friday. Oh, I still got plenty of time. I don't know why I'm worried about time. I'm retired, so time is sort of irrelevant to me. But it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of surreal. Just kind of thinking of, what day is it? Ay. Not a bad problem to have. So I'm just going to use some. This is the sheer Balmy blue ribbon. This is currently on clearance. It's one of my favorite ribbons. It's very pretty. It ties beautifully. So if you are a ribbon snob like me and you want to grab this before it's gone, it is currently on the last chance. So now I'm going to sort of loop this together to kind of make what I call a faux bow. I'm just kind of loop those two ends together, and then we're going to push this in the middle, and it kind of makes a little bit of a fake bow without tying anything. And I'm just going to put this on the back corner of my card. I'm going to use a little bit of tape for this, just to kind of help hold those ribbons in place. And now we're going to come in with our dimensionals. You know, I love me some good dimensionals. Love them. Who else loves their dimensionals? I just think they are so fun. Okay. All right. And here we go. We're going to put this kind of right here. And I went with the squares for the sentiment because I thought it just kind of matched the overall tone of the card. So that is our first card. How pretty is that? Really not a lot of work. Really a very basic card, but that pretty designer series paper, all those pretty different little squares, really just adds a lot of interest. So that was card number one. Now for card number two, it's our standard 8.5 by 5.5 base, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of our basic white for the inside. That's 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in just to kind of get it out of the way. So let's go ahead and put that there. All right. My German Shepherd's running around. Did anybody else have their, I don't know what just happened to this thing, have the emergency alert go off this morning? It went off at 3:30 and 4:30 to warn us that there was a snow squall coming. I'm like, who's on the roads at 3:30 in the morning? It should only be police, firemen, and emergency medical services. And I'm pretty sure they already knew. But yeah, all woken up out of a sound sleep. And of course, like the adrenaline starts pumping because you hear those emergency tones and you think, oh my gosh, the world is coming to an end. It didn't, but still. So now we've got a piece of Balmy blue for the front. That's 5 1/4 by 4. I've got a piece of the designer series paper. This is 5 by 3 3/8. And we are going to cut this into 1 1/8 sections. And then we've got I punched out a 2-inch circle out of basic white. So let's go ahead and cut the designer series paper. Now, this will go, whether you do this as like a left, center, right, or a top, middle, bottom, this little trick is going to work no matter what. So I'm going to cut this at 1 1/8. That's hard to say. And another one at 1 1/8. And then we've got 1 3/8. And I want to make sure I keep these in order. So here I'm going to do just a little pencil mark on the back. This is going to be my left. It helps if you actually have the lead out. This will be the left. This will be the center. And this is going to be the right. So now when I take these off, if I mix them up, which I have been known to do, when I go to put them on my card, I can say, okay, that's my right piece. That's my left piece. That's my center piece. And when you, if you like, you stuck them all together, the designs would match up. So that's just kind of one little tip, little trick that I do to kind of keep my strips aligned when they've been cut from a solid piece of designer series paper. And I post one tip a week, Tip Tuesday, in my VIP group. So if you're not in my Stampin' with Crafty Klock VIP community on Facebook, make sure you join so that you can get these tips every Tuesday. New tip every Tuesday. All right. Here. Some people like to start in the center and go out. Some people like to start on the left side, the right side. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's just really kind of your personal preference. But just no matter where you start, just kind of make sure that you keep them all relatively aligned. At least top and bottom. Okay. And that looks pretty good to me. All right, so we've got those on there. And I'm going to cut a piece of our ribbon. Keep losing my ribbon. And we're just going to tape it to the Balmy blue. And then we're going to put that on our card. We only need about 5 inches. We're just going to wrap it around. We're not going to go the whole way around. I'm just going to cut off about 5 inches. Maybe 5.5, not a lot. All right, I'm going to kind of put this not off center towards the bottom, more towards the bottom than towards the center. Again, my preference, you can, your card, you can put the ribbon wherever you want. That's just a little thing. And you could always go back and add, you know, whatever embellishments you want. Rhinestones, Wink of Stella, whatever you choose to put on your card is fine. That's what makes it uniquely yours. We were talking the other day, I went to get my nails done. I was talking to the lady next to me, and somehow we got on the topic of unique traits. And I said, when my daughter was little, she couldn't say the word unique. She was trying to explain something to me. And she goes, you know, I want it to be New-Yeek. You know, New-Yeek. And I'm like, what the heck is New-Yeek? She goes, you know, like different, like nobody else has it. I'm like, oh, you mean unique. So that was trying to decipher Sam. We have Samisms in this family. So sometimes you have to be able to understand Samish to understand what she's saying. When she was really little, my sister was watching her and she kept asking for pickles. And my sister was giving her pickles and she was getting very upset because what she really wanted was pepperoni. Weird kids. All right, so we stamped our happy birthday. Now here's another little trick I do. I wanted to add just a little bit of color to the edge. So I just kind of rolled it in my stamp pad. Look at that. It adds just a little tiny bit of color to the edge of our circle. So that's a kind of a quick and easy way to add a little color without having to get a dauber and all that silly stuff. All right, I'm going to put 3 on here. Not a very big circle. But here we go. Here is our second card. Now, how pretty is that? Again, we're just letting that designer series paper really just kind of do all the heavy lifting on these cards. We're not really doing anything terribly exciting, but I still think that they are pretty. I'm kind of the philosophy that sometimes less is more, that sometimes when you just have sort of clean and simple lines, they're just very elegant. So here we go. Here's our last card. This we're going to do the stack, cut, and shuffle technique. So I've got 2 cards here. I've got a piece of our basic white. Let's put that on the inside of our card. It's my German Shepherd down here. Emma is kind of hanging out with me tonight. So here we go. We're going to put that in. All right, we've got that in. We're going to put these in here for now. And then we've got 2 pieces of our designer series paper. It is, these are 4 by 5 1/4. If you want to put another layer on, like a cardstock layer, you can. Then you would cut these down to 3 3/4 by 5. But I just went with the standard 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to cut these. I'm going to stack them together. That's why it's called the stack, cut, and shuffle. And I'm going to cut these at 1 1/2. So now we're going to have one section that's 1 1/2 by 5 1/4 and 3 1/2, right? No, 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. I obviously can't math today. Then I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to cut them again at 1 1/2. Okay, so we're going to have 2, a 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 and a 1 1/2 by 2 1/2 section. Or by 3 and that's a little bit longer. This is the one that's 3. This is how long. This is 3 3/4, 1 1/2 and 3 3/4. We're going to do the same thing on this. We're going to cut this at 1 1/2. Okay, so again, we have 2 1/2 by 1 1/2 and 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip these like this and like this. I'm going to put this, and then we're going to flip this, and we're going to flip this. And I want this one to be like this. I want this one to be, oh, how did I do that? Oh, because I shuffled them the wrong way. I'm like, how did I end up with that? There we go. That's right. Like, put this one like that. So now we're going to use one of these for our card, and you could put it any way. You could put this longer one here and this shorter one here, and then put this here and put this here. Or you could put it the way I have it with the fatter piece, the wider piece on the right. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way. Let me just bring these down. I didn't realize they weren't on the camera. So you can do it either way. You can do it either way. It doesn't matter. You know, if you wanted to switch it up and put that sort of piece up there and put this down there, you could do it however you want. You can shuffle these any way you want to go on your card. So no right or wrong way. All right, let's go ahead. Let me just put these. I'm going to put these aside for now. And we're going to work with this one. So we're going to come here and we're going to just kind of, let me give this a nice crisp crease because it's not laying nice and flat. All right, there we go. So we're going to put these here. I'm just going to kind of lay these on here for now. Now these will butt up right against each other. There will not be any space in between these. Okay, and we'll put this there, and then we'll put this there. Okay, so that is how we're going to lay this out. So I'm going to start with this piece here. Then I'm going to put this on. Now for this, I really do recommend the liquid glue. It just gives you that little extra time to kind of put the pieces where you want them. Now remember, there's not a lot of extra space. It's only like 1/8 of an inch on the top and on the sides that you have. So make sure you do it carefully, slowly and carefully. Get this out of there. Okay. Okay, we want to make sure that these measure the sides and they kind of just go right up against each other. Okay, now we've got this one. Kind of want to make sure I get that top even. Okay, just press it down. And now we're going to use this one. Okay. I'd rather have that look because I think I kind of messed up there, but we can cover that little gap. We're just going to put our little sentiment there and no one will ever know. So I'm going to stamp on here. Another happy birthday. Okay. I'm going to layer this up on my Night of Navy. I really do like these two colors, Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. Do you think they work well together? All right, and I'm going to cut another little piece of ribbon. I thought I had a piece cut. Let me just check in my little bin of scraps. I thought I had an extra piece cut, but I did not. Okay. Not that I don't have plenty of ribbon. And again, for this one, I don't need much because I'll show you. We're just going to do 2 little tails. They're going to hang out of the side of our circle. Let me just cut these on an angle. I'm going to fold this in half. And we're going to have this just kind of come out from right there. Okay, and again, I'm going to kind of come back here and tape this down. I'm just using regular cellophane tape. Nothing fancy. I just got my little office tape dispenser here. All right, and then we're going to add our dimensionals. Might use a little bit more on this. Maybe 4. Okay. I'll put that right there. Actually, I think I'm going to put on a little bit of an angle just to kind of give it a little bit of personality. And that is the stack, cut, and shuffle design. So those are our 3 designs for tonight. I hope that you like them. I hope that you like this True Blue Designer Series paper, True Blue Florals Designer Series paper. It is the December product of the month. It is still available. It is yours for $5 with an order of $75 or more. Any questions, any comments, please just go ahead, leave them down below. I'm always happy to answer them. If you want to just, send me a direct message too, that's fine. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you next week and Happy New Year. Bye.